to the basement.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Basement Boys Podcast. I am Chris Gray. Somewhere around here is Eric Mincer. Once again, we do not have Devin, unfortunately, but adult stuff. We'll get back to it shortly enough. It's a big week. Time for the big game, the 55th big game.
We're just going to call it the Super Bowl. I don't care about trademarks. We're breaking all the rules. We're talking Super Bowl. The big game is upon us. It's finally the last week of the season. Bittersweet.
Yeah, but it's actually a very exciting game. It's a game that actually everyone's been pulling for since the beginning of the year. So, bittersweet. A little more on the sweet side for me.
Every Super Bowl is bittersweet for me because yes, it's the big game. It's the culmination. You get to see the best teams, but then when that trophy goes up, you just know it's 7 more months till football again. We're recording this. It's Groundhog's Day. Pennsatucky Paul, or whatever his face is, saw his shadow, which means we got 6 more weeks of 2020. It's just gloomy out here. Chris and I are both in New York, where we just got hit by a massive snowstorm, which is why we aren't physically at the same location right now. But at least we got the Super Bowl.
At least we got the Super Bowl. Chiefs coming in as the technical home favorite, but also kind of road favorite. And yeah, like I said in the beginning, it's kind of the game everyone's been pulling for all year. Because it's the baby goat versus the old goat. It could be the passing of the guard. Brady has assembled the Avengers over down there in Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. The city of champs.
And Mahomes basically has the Teen Titans coming up, looking to take the crown.
There you go. The defending champs versus the last quarterback to actually beat Mahomes in the playoffs was Tom Brady and the Patriots 2 years ago when the Patriots won the Super Bowl. So there's a lot riding on this. Like you said, the old goat, the new goat, the passing of the torch. It's a big passing of the torch Super Bowl. I'm trying to think in other sports, like probably the closest we will get to this would be like the 1991 NBA Finals where Michael Jordan beat Magic. The Bulls beat the Lakers, and it was just like you watch one legend, dominant champion of the 80s passing it off to Michael, the dominant legend, champion throughout the 90s. So that's what I think it's going to be, where we've seen 6 championships for Tom Brady in the first 20 years of the 2000s. And then Mahomes has already got 1, looking at 2. It's going to be passing of the dynasties.
Yeah, not if Tom Brady has anything to say about it, though. But yeah, this is something we don't really get. We never really got Michael Jordan Kobe. We never really got a Kobe LeBron. We never really got, I don't know who's even still in the league when Tom started out that was on that level. I can't even think of one.
I mean, when Tom came in, I guess you'd say like the Broncos had a little baby run where they had the 2 Super Bowls with Elway, but he retired. I don't know. I don't think of it as really having happened in football. I'm trying to think of baseball, an example where like legend face a legend in the World Series and it passes off. I don't know. Either way, this is going to be a very exciting game. I'm just excited to see 2 of the greatest offensive minds in, Andy Reid and Mahomes on one side of the ball versus Brady and Bruce Arians, the air raid. You have Steve Spagnuolo for the Chiefs, who's a great defensive coordinator. Todd Bowles on the Bucs, a great defensive coordinator. There's just so many small battles just all up and down the field that it's just going to be watching like a chess match, up and down everywhere. It's just going to be great matchups.
And the thing that's really interesting about this to me is the Bucs have a really good defense, but they have the worst kind of defense for Mahomes, and also kind of the best type of defense for what they do, because their secondary is definitely the weak point of the defense, which is bad when you're going against Tyreek Hill, but that front 7 can put pressure on anyone. And yeah, Mahomes is a mobile quarterback and get outside the pocket, but if he's running around all game, that's definitely going to create some problems. So it's kind of interesting to me about how Todd Bowles is going to attack this situation, I guess.
So what I'm reading, doing some deep dives here, is Patrick Mahomes has been pressured 19 times during these playoffs. He's completed 62% of his passes for 8.5 yards per pass and 2 touchdowns. I don't think the pressure really gets to him. Like he seems that he can read when the pressure's coming, where it's coming from, let the pressure build, and at the last second, fire it out to Kelsey, fire it out to Hill. Somebody's open.
I do understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is you just said it yourself. He's only gotten pressured 19 times in the playoffs. That's 19
Right.
times over 2 games. That's not very much. If there's anyone who's going to get that pressure on him, it is going to be Tampa Bay. Maybe the only team better equipped would have been Washington.
Agreed.
What I'm
Washington's
saying-
front 7. Yeah.
What I'm saying, if you're getting him outside the pocket every other play, which Todd Bowles is trying to do, he's a very blitz-heavy type guy, it's going to wear on him as the game goes on. You know what I mean? Not even so much that he can't deal with it mentally, whatever. If you're running outside the pocket every drop back, you're going to get winded. It's a long game.
I agree, but if you remember when these two teams played week 12, that opening quarter, Tyreek Hill exploded for 203 yards in the first. And a lot of what it was simply Mahomes reading the defense at the line of scrimmage, making the adjustments, and Tyreek Hill just being too fast.
Yeah, and that's the other side of it. You know what I mean? Because their secondary is their weak point if they were to have one. All in all, they're a very good defense. I'm not trying to say their secondary is bad, but the weaker side of it would 100% be your secondary. In my
Agreed.
personal opinion.
Agreed. And to go further on that was like, if you just watch this Chiefs team, they can take apart any secondary. Like you're not going to have no team has the personnel that's like going to shut down a speedy Tyreek Hill and the big, also fast Travis Kelsey, while you have to worry about like what Sammy Watkins coming out of the slot or DeMarcus Robinson, who I actually don't think is going to play this game. Other fast receivers. It's just too much speed and athleticism on the Chiefs offense. I mean, I don't know. I'm excited.
No, yeah, this is a very exciting game. And speaking of weird weapons each of these teams had, we have to talk about the success rate of forcing your way out of Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Because 2 guys a couple seasons ago forced their way out of Pittsburgh. 2 guys a couple seasons later, guess where they are? The motherfucking Super Bowl on opposite teams. Does getting away from Big Ben get you to a Super Bowl?
When you get away from Big Ben and join the Chiefs or the Bucks, yes.
Definitely not when you join the Jets.
Yeah,
Even though Juju Smith-Schuster has come out and said he'd want to rejoin his old pal Sam Darnold, but we'll get to that at a different time.
we'll get to that later. I see that happening. But with Antonio Brown, like what we said when this first happened, again, like not to toot our own horns, but we said it could go one of 2 ways. He goes nuts and he implodes the locker room and everybody hates him and it falls apart. Or he shuts up, does his job, and makes Tom Brady a lot of money and makes Tom Brady really happy. And here they are in the Super Bowl. For Le'Veon Bell, being part of a Jets team with Adam Gase as the coach, the offense never stood a chance. They ran the ball with Frank Gore more than Le'Veon Bell, which just didn't make sense for a 36-year-old to get more carries than Le'Veon Bell. And even though he's not a huge part of the Chiefs team, he still contributes, and he's going to probably see a ring before the Jets.
Oh yeah, that's almost 100%. Even if we do get to Deshaun Watson, but yeah, he kind of just won the lottery out of anyone. Like again, he's not a huge part of the offense, so he's not getting as beat up as he would. He went from the worst team in the league almost to the best team in the league. And now he's about to go from 2-14 to Super Bowl with one stroke of the pen by our boy Joe Douglas. I just think it's really funny that both of the guys that forced their way out in like the same year, basically. are
Yeah,
now in the Super Bowl.
and then you look at the Steelers, and they were 11-0, and they lost 5 out of their last 6 games they played. So,
And bounced in
things
the first round.
yeah, exactly. Things are not looking well for Pittsburgh. Things are looking good for ex-Steelers.
Yeah. But yeah, this should be a very, very exciting matchup. And you've been saying it for forever now. You said it a little bit last week. You've been feeding them to my phone all week. There's a lot of weird bets on this one, huh?
There's a lot of weird bets every Super Bowl, but I got to just take a moment and address some of my favorite weird bets. Let's take a gander at the best bets. So starting off, every year they do this, the national anthem. This year, the over-under is going to be 1 minute and 59 seconds. 2 singers. You got Jasmine Sullivan and Eric Church. I'm not a country fan. I don't know either of them. Actually, I know Eric Church because I think I've heard his song, so not for me.
Nope.
But I would like to take the over on this. I have no historical data and nothing to back it up. I just feel like, long winter, we all need a good moment to feel patriotic after everything that's happened. Probably stretch out the national anthem with all the theatrics. You can bet on whether or not they omit a word.
I feel like in the Super Bowl, it's like the time they're gonna stretch it out, because you're only singing the national anthem at the Super Bowl one time in your life. That's it. You know what I mean? Fucking savor every minute of it.
But that begs the question: like, is 159 an extremely long time for the national anthem? I've never paid attention to it.
I've never timed the anthem myself, so I can't tell you. I wouldn't feel like it though.
It just doesn't seem like that long of a song,
It doesn't until it's played at sporting events live, because
True.
they ham it up, they go hard, they stretch it out. You know what I mean? Sometimes they go a little too far, like a la Fergie that one time.
That was great. I wonder what the length was on that, what the over-under was. I don't know.
I
I
have
just
no
think
idea.
it's just wonderful that these are all options for, like, I don't know how, but you can bet if Eric Church will miss a word, it's plus 750. But Jasmine Sullivan is missing a word is plus 800. Is there a reason that we think there's a slightly better chance Eric Church will miss a word?
Is
I
he
don't know.
just dumb? Do we know?
What do the odds makers know that we don't know?
I have no idea about anything that happened with Eric Church, so I could not tell you that.
Will there be a scoring drive that takes less time than the national anthem? I say yes, because knowing the
Yeah.
Chiefs and the Bucks, there's going to be a deep bomb, and unless they somehow sing the national anthem in like 20 seconds, I don't think it's gonna.
I think there's going to be at least one play, like one drive on the field. That's where Tyreek Hill gets off his man first play, bust it for 80 and a touchdown.
That's exactly what the Chiefs did to the Bucks when they played in the regular season. Let's see.
Well, yeah, he went off.
The other big musical bets are all around the halftime show, which will be performed by The Weeknd. I'm not a huge fan of The Weeknd, but will he play more or less than 8 songs?
Is it full songs or is it in a medley?
Doesn't say. Does not specify, and honestly, I have no idea how they would do that.
They usually go medley. Like they'll play like a minute of each song just to keep it moving, and with all like the theatrics.
I'm guessing how many songs they could fit into the medley. I don't know. 8 is the favorite. Over 8 is minus 200. So I'd probably just say over 8 and think like you could probably do like 10 different songs, a minute of each.
Yeah, you don't realize how many hit songs The Weeknd has until you actually like see it printed out in front of you. Because I was like, he's gonna play like 2 songs that people know, and mainstream knows.
Well, there's that bet of which song will be the first one the one he opens with, which one will be the one he closes with. Let's see. There's also, will he change outfits, wardrobe change? There's overwhelming favorite, yes.
Yeah.
What I find interesting is they say, will he mention Donald Trump? Huge favorites of no. But I mean, hey, it's 2021. Who knows? Weird stuff happens. Will he mention Joe Biden? Again, I don't think so, but who knows? Will he mention Canada? which led us both to ask, is the Weeknd Canadian?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Couldn't tell you. Will there be a wardrobe malfunction? Plus
I
the
know he is
900
a star
odds.
boy.
He's just is that
Does that
code
mean
for,
Canadian? I don't know.
I mean Canadian?
Sounds like an American to me. We got 50 stars over here. He's not a
wouldn't he-
Maple Leaf boy.
Leaf boy. Yeah. So that's interesting. Will any of his exes show up? Ariana Grande. She actually has the best odds at plus 250. Bella
Yeah, but
Hadid.
Ariana Grande's always like cool with her exes from what I've seen. Like maybe not best friends with them, but like at the same time, like she's not Taylor Swift, whose like album cycle seems to fall around her relationship troubles.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really know anything about her, so I'm not going to
Yeah.
comment. But
I don't know a
Will-
lot, but
do you think Drake will show up at the halftime show at some point?
I don't know. I feel like if Drake's gonna show up, it's gonna be Drake as the performer. You know what I mean? Like as the guy.
I guess. I mean, that's just something that makes sense to me, but that's something else you could bet on. That's pretty much it for the halftime show, other than like, what songs and
All that fun stuff.
will he use a football as a prop? Honestly, I want to say yes because that just seems like it'll make sense, but I can't remember a time that I've seen a Super Bowl performance have a football as a prop.
Yeah, I've never seen. They never do anything even football related. Like
No,
it's just a
usually
big
nothing to do with
theatrical
football.
thing. Yeah.
All right, so then there's also the bets that I like because they're just Super Bowl bets that happen every year, like the Gatorade color. Everybody should just pick a color. Currently, the favorite is orange, or is red, and orange are pretty much tied. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Clear water have pretty big odds. Purple is the least likely. Blue is plus 800. I mean, I guess red and orange, the thinking is probably that the Chiefs and Bucks both have red and yellow, and like together you get orange in there. But I would like, does that matter? Are
see,
the teams like,
For me personally, I would think it's blue because all those other flavors you name sound trash.
right?
Blue, everyone knows blue. Anything sports drink is obviously the best flavor out of all of them.
I mean, I fucks with red. I don't really fuck with yellow, but yellow's on the list. I do not fuck with purple. Purple's the highest odds.
I'd fuck with purple over red.
So another one I would recommend everybody bet is over under 2 mentions of the Patriots. It's at minus 160.
Oh my god.
That just seems too low. But like, it's Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. You know they're going to talk about the Patriots and Tom Brady. Even if the Patriots and Mahomes have some history. Andy Reid coached the Eagles to the Super Bowls against the Patriots the last time you had a repeat champ. They're going to mention the Patriots.
Bill
85
Belichick
times.
is probably going to get mentioned more in this game than Andy Reid and Bruce Arians.
The current over under is 2 for Bill Belichick. I would go way over.
Way over. Way over. That's all anyone's been talking about this year.
So you could talk about a fan running on the field at plus 700. That's higher than usual because it's a pandemic and most of the people in the crowd are going to be healthcare workers. So thank you, healthcare workers, for all you do. Do not run on the field during the Super Bowl, mostly because we're betting against it.
Yeah. Also just bad idea in general.
It's also very illegal. Okay, yeah.
Non-quarterback QB pass is also at plus 450. I understand these aren't the teams that have done it most of the year, but I feel like everyone's doing that now. Like it was something you never saw, and now you see it like 20 times a year.
Right, and I think both these quarterbacks don't want it to shine on anyone but them. I don't think. Brady, we saw the Philly beat him a couple years ago. Then they tried it, and Brady couldn't catch the pass. The
it also wasn't a great throw.
It was not a great throw, but that's what happens when Tom Brady isn't the one throwing it. You don't get great throws. Like I was about to say, the Chiefs. I don't think you put $500,000 into Patrick Mahomes just to draw up a play where he's the one not throwing the ball. So I honestly don't think there will be a not quarterback touchdown, but that's always a fun
Oh,
one. And
if
then
you can
my
you imagine if
favorite,
Brady gets got by the Philly twice?
what do you call it if the Chiefs do it? Kansas, Kansas, KC,
I don't
the
even know.
the KC special, Kansas City short ribs. That's all I think of Kansas City. So my two favorite bets on this whole thing, uh, probably will there be a punch thrown or a player ejected for throwing a punch at plus 750 for us. Anybody who's going to throw a punch during the Super Bowl is a different breed. Like that's a special kind of anger. You're living in the highest of the highest level you could get in professional football in any level of sports, the biggest stage, and you really about that life. You throwing hands, hey, cash your own check. If I'm like a third stringer out there getting my one snap in the Super Bowl, hell yeah, I'd put $10,000 on plus 750. Yes, there will be a fight, and yes, I will be the one throwing the punch. I will be the one in the fight. I will get ejected to cash my bet slip.
That's also super illegal, though, I think.
Don't give a shit. Other best bet: will any player propose to his girlfriend or boyfriend? I guess we don't shame to propose to their. Will anyone propose on the field after the game?
I feel like that's going to be harder to do this year because no one's going to be allowed to be there.
I feel like that only happened that one time when Oklahoma lost to Boise State in that famous college game, and that was just perfect. Like that was just Hollywood. You had to do it.
Yeah, but
I don't.
at the same, but also the main people, Mahomes just got engaged. Brady, fucking 100 years old, and has been married for the last like 40 years. So I really don't see anything like that because I feel like only the big stars will be able to get those type of people in there, if anyone, especially when they say it's kind of made for healthcare workers.
Yeah, that's fair, but maybe I don't know. Maybe somebody like Scotty Miller's like, hey, no time like the present. Babe, you want to get married?
Yeah, but I don't know if Scotty Miller, I don't know if they're gonna move mountains to get Scotty Miller's girlfriend in there. You know what I mean? Where they might do that for Tom or Pat.
They definitely would do it for Tom or Pat, but like you said, that's not. They're not bachelors. They're both married or soon to be married. I think that'll be interesting if I would love to see a world where the team that loses their captain then goes and asks their wife or asks their girlfriend to marry them. That would just be so funny.
Right? That would suck.
Everyone is going to have their predictions for this game. I gave you mine a little earlier. What do you think, Chris? Who you think takes it? What do you think the score? You don't got to be exact with it, but just like, you know, a little what you think is going to happen this game.
I think hmm. I think it should be a pretty close game. I think kinda what you said last week. The difference maker this week is probably gonna be the Honey Badger. If he can drop out, if he can make Brady make some mistakes, you know what I mean? Because he threw what, 3 picks last week? Probably could have
did.
thrown more. So we
Yeah.
don't know. We don't know what's going on there. It's obviously not quite as good of a defense. I don't feel like, even though their defense isn't spectacular either.
I think what's going to happen is you're going to have, like you said, the Chiefs are going to be down a lineman. Eric Fisher's out with the Achilles injury. That's less than ideal when you have to face JPP. There's going to be pressure from both sides because you have Shaq Barrett. So they're going to be able to get to Mahomes.
And
I
then
think
just, Ndamukong Suh coming up.
Levante David over the middle. Like you said, great defense. The weakness is the secondary. I think it's going to come down to if anybody can actually not stop, but just keep up with Tyreek Hill. I think he's the one that at least when the Chiefs have the ball, obviously you got to watch him, but just from when they played in the regular season, pre-snap, the motion, the reading the defense, Tyreek Hill was just able to get open and eat the Bucs alive. And I agree on the other side of the ball, when Brady and the Bucs offense, all those weapons, Honey Badger's got to be able to take out someone. Just one of them. If he takes out Antonio Brown, sure, you got to deal with Mike Evans, Godwin, but it's just one person out of the equation.
And also something we haven't really talked about yet is last week Pat was still dealing with that turf toe thing. It seemed to hamper his movement a little bit. Nothing major, nothing he couldn't get over and get the win. But with that front seven that we just talked about, that half step that he might not have this time could make all the difference.
Absolutely.
Especially going from Buffalo's defense for what it is to now this defense. You know what I'm saying? It's night and day.
I just think if there's any quarterback that can really handle the pressure and just roll around, break the pocket, it's Mahomes. You just see him completing passes from anywhere. Like, I'm actually looking at side by side.
I 100% agree on that. I'm just saying because it definitely slowed him down a little bit. Again, nothing crazy, nothing major, and against the Bills, that's okay. But that little half step he could be off because he's still dealing with this issue could play a factor when you're going against a front seven as stacked as the Buccaneers is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the stats of Patrick Mahomes outside the pocket versus everyone else outside the pocket is like, he had 16 touchdowns and the next best was 13.
That's normal situation, though. That's normal situation, though. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Look at what Kyler Murray was doing before the shoulder injury. I understand it's not the same level of injury, you know what I mean? But just as a point of if he's still a little banged up, if he doesn't have that could play an extra factor. I'm not saying the Bucs are going to roll over him because of a turf toe. But I'm saying we haven't seen him dealing with this issue against the front seven like this.
Yeah, you're definitely onto something there, and that's going to be a huge factor. Is going to be getting to the quarterbacks, like everyone said a million times. Getting to Brady is how you beat Brady. We'll see if getting to Mahomes is how you beat Mahomes, or if he's just athletic enough to get around it. And like you said, the toe, if he's healthy,
right.
I just think, piggybacking on something else you said last week, Brady did throw 3 interceptions. And the Packers were just not able to capitalize on those turnovers. I think Cole actually said this when he called last week. The Buccaneers didn't play a perfect game and still beat the Packers. They have to throw a perfect game to beat the Chiefs. You're not throwing 3 interceptions and sticking around with the Chiefs. Like,
not at
this
all.
Offense is too good. You can't make a mistake because you're just not going to be able to make up for it.
I 100% agree. This is really just the game of firepower versus firepower. And who's blowing up, basically.
It's a great game if you like offense. Which, we all do.
Yeah. See, that's the other thing. If there's any team equipped to keep up with Kansas City and Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and all that, it's definitely the Bucs. So it could come down to defense.
I think it will come down
to defense. A lot of offense in between, don't get me wrong. But
I think it will come down to defense. I think it's going to be like a game of Madden where it's like whoever can get the first stop is going to be the one controlling the game.
Right. I 100% agree. And if even if old man Brady's arm can hold up.
Okay, so let's get into that. Brady was recently asked about playing beyond the age of 45, and he says, absolutely, it's something I could do. What do you think of that? Do we think he's going to actually be able to play past the age of 35? 45. How do I say that? Yeah.
Honestly, yes, because this is just kind of like a quarterback light league right now. I've been saying that a lot. Usually, like we were just talking about last week, how 18 of the 32 quarterbacks are marked to be possibly changing places this year. We've never seen that. And that's because quarterback is at such a premium right now, where it's always at a very big premium, but usually there's enough guys around the league that are doing okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but after 45, that would mean he'd played 22 full seasons in the NFL. I don't know, man. At some point, his body's got to break down.
I understand, but we've been saying that for years, and he keeps making Super Bowls. So until it happens, I can't say anything. I
It's the
can't say
TB12
anything.
method. It's Alex Guerrero, the weird body coach he has. You know,
I know we'll
he's
make the
been
same joke. Avocado ice cream.
he's been working with former MLB pitchers that helped train Nolan Ryan, who Nolan Ryan also pitched till he was like 45. I guess Brady's arm is okay and mentally he's still there, but like for the Bucks, he's on a 2-year, $50 million deal. So that means in 2 years from now or after next season, you're looking at putting another $25 million into a 45-year-old quarterback. I don't think they're
But
going to do it.
I could see him taking a pay cut just to do it, just because he loves the game. Because again, like we talked about, his wife, we're talking about him, 2 years, $50 million. That's chump change to his wife. Like, the money doesn't really matter to him. Like, yeah, he wants to
She's the
get paid his
breadwinner.
worth. He wants to get paid his worth and all that, and I get that. But at the end of the day, if he just wants to play and someone will offer him a chance to play, I think he'd take it. He's just that type of competitive guy, you know what I mean?
Do you think he would take it with a team other than the Bucks? Would he start doing the Brett Favre and just trying different teams to lengthen his career?
I I I think if the team has a chance to win, he will. I don't think he's just gonna go anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't think
I
he's gonna
mean,
go. Like, if there's a team that set up like the Jet Tour this year with no line and he knows he's just gonna get murdered, he'll probably be like, "Nah, I'm good."
you don't think Tom Brady would come to the Jets?
I think he would do it despite Bill, and I think he would do it if
uh,
they had a good O line.
I was just kidding. I don't think that'll ever happen.
I don't think it'll ever happen, but I think he'd do it. Like, I think if they gave him a good enough O line, like if he had a line he could sit behind, and even like they had some weapons around him, and it was like the only team really offering him a contract, and he wanted to keep playing, I don't think that would stop him.
There's too many things that go on now between free agents and players getting injured and players demanding out. Like we'll have to do inventory on the entire NFL in a year's time and see what the league looks like. I don't know.
That's why
I,
that's why the stuff that's happening in Kansas City is so impressive. That they're able to sign these guys on team friendly deals because they all just want to keep this squad together. Because that's not what happens.
it's gonna be team friendly deals until Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelsey's time to get paid and all that money's to
Well,
Mahomes.
well, Travis Kelsey already did.
Did Hill get paid yet?
I don't think so. But Travis Kelsey, like I said, he took a like a nice structuring of the deal, a friendly structuring for Kansas City.
Yeah. Kansas City's done a lot through the draft, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, but all these guys seem to be talking about making it work money wise with the team, with them to be able to be this dynasty, kind of like how the Patriots were doing. So I feel like if Mahomes, yeah, got paid a lot of money guaranteed, but it's structured in a way that he's not the biggest cap hit on his team on out of all quarterbacks. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
gets he gets a lot of money, but there are other people who are larger cap hits. If that makes sense, it's
Yeah.
just structured over 10 years.
No, I know what you mean because currently Roethlisberger is the biggest cap hit, which we'll get to also later when we talk more about the quarterback carousel and where players go.
They're
Uh,
all getting paid, but they're structuring it in ways that is team friendly to be able to keep all these big guys that they said, oh, they're never going to be able to keep Pat and Kelsey. And what they do, they signed them both.
all right, so you still got to tell me who you think is going to win and who's the MVP.
I do believe the Chiefs take it. I just think no one's found the recipe to that yet. The toe thing worries me a little bit with that front seven. Like, I've been beating home, but all in all, I think the Chiefs take it. And then at that point, it's got to be Pat Mahomes, unless Tyreek Hill goes off for another like 600 yards, like he did the last time they played him. But that's the only way I see it going anywhere else.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the only way the Buccaneers win is, and this is going to sound weird, but it's got to be a really big game from Godwin or Antonio Brown. I think, like we said, just Matthew as such a great safety is going to take away any deep threat. We know Brady doesn't have the arm strength he used to have, so it's going to come down to slot receivers. I think if Godwin or Antonio Brown can get opening and create space, and just burn the defense of the Chiefs. That's going to be the Bucs' best way to stay in it. And then it's going to come down to whoever can make a stop on defense. And just based on last week or 2 weeks ago now, Brady throwing 3 interceptions, he's more likely to give the Chiefs an extra possession than the Chiefs are to give the Bucs an extra possession, if you know what I mean.
True.
I think it's going to be the Chiefs. Very close, low-scoring game. And, yeah, Mahomes, the Chiefs aren't going to win and Mahomes not get the MVP.
I do not agree with low-scoring game at all.
Really? Over-under is 56. You going over?
Yeah, I would definitely take the over on that. Like I
To me,
said,
that-
I think it's gonna come down to defense, but I think it's gonna come down to like Madden style defense. Whoever gets a stop.
I think that's just such like a Vegas trap where everybody's like, yeah, you got the 2 great quarterbacks, Brady and Mahomes. Everybody's going to want to see points. 56 is a lot of points. And I just think both these teams are going to come out cautious. Like, Andy Reid knows how to run an offensive game that doesn't turn the ball over. And I think Brady's going to be like, yeah, I threw 3 interceptions last week and maybe dial it back. I just see this like, I see why everybody wants it to be high scoring, and I see you shaking your head. I just think it's going to be a slow paced and cautious game.
I don't think Brady's ever had that mentality in his life, though.
Did you not watch the Super Bowl 2 years ago with the Rams?
Yeah, but they got out on a big lead real early, and he did not have nearly the amount of weapons. He did not have a weapon comparably to what he has this year.
He had, yeah, okay, not compared to what he has this year, but he still had Gronk when Gronk was good. He had Edelman, like he still had players. And that was a 13-3 game.
That was the start of the downfall for Gronk, in my opinion. And who else was he?
I don't know, but that was just a low scoring game. I'll bet you on this one. I'll take the under.
Yeah, I definitely am not taking the under.
We'll come up with something. Vote if you're listening to this. Let us know what we should put on the line, what the bet should be, what the winner should do, what the loser should do. Because Eric's going under, and Chris is taking the over. Leave a comment.
I'll bring
on this
the
YouTube
table
video.
back. I'll bring
Leave
the table back. Don't mess with me.
Should we do the table? I don't know. If anybody else has any interesting ideas, tell us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Follow, like, subscribe, all that
'Cause that
good
way-
stuff.
That way, at least somebody's going through a table.
Oh, regardless, we're gonna have Bills Mafia just in general. So somebody's going through a table. It's the Super Bowl. Somebody's going through a table.
I mean, Bills Mafia ain't there. They lost, but,
Don't matter. You don't think Bills Mafia is gonna get hammered for the Super Bowl and still send someone through a table?
I think they're going to keep the tables not broken out of respect, because only the Bills get tables
No
broken
one circles
from
the
Bills
wagons
Mafia.
like the Buffalo Bills.
All right. So, in other football news, fuck, the Rams are going to be good next year.
Yeah, we got the quarterback carousel in motion. The Los Angeles Rams have acquired Matthew Stafford. Jared Goff is taking the route of Blake Griffin, going from Los Angeles to Detroit. Going with Jared Goff is a whole lot of draft picks, 2 first-rounders, a third-rounder, and the Detroit
honestly-
Lions.
Honestly, those 2 first-round draft picks are to get the Lions to take Goff's contract from them. It's
Right.
not so much for Matt Stafford. It's to be like, okay, you'll take this contract, but we'll give you 2 picks for it. Because I don't think there's any other way you pay 2 picks for a 35, 36-year-old Matthew Stafford now.
No, but exactly. So the Rams are going to save $7.25 million this season, and then next season they'll save about $11 million by making this move. So the Lions are eating contract. The Lions are basically saying, yeah, we're going to go for a rebuild, which we already kind of knew. We already knew based off last year that they weren't going to be a contender. They have DeAndre Swift, a great young running back. They have the 7th overall pick in this year's draft. They got some questions with free agents, right? You look at their wide receivers. Galladay's a star. He's going to be a free agent. Marvin Lewis, a really good year. He's going to be a free agent. It's going to be Hawkinson. It's going to be Swift, whatever they choose to do with that 7th pick. But they're going to have 2 more picks over the next two, first rounds. So I think that's a really solid return for the Lions. And like you said, the Rams are going to be really good next year.
Yeah, we say it's a solid return for the Lions, but also, if anyone's going to mismanage these picks and the pieces they already have, it's the Detroit Lions. So
Fact.
I feel like they are in a at least the Jets will have like 10 years of rebuild, but then we'll have 1 or 2 years where we at least make the playoffs and maybe win 1 or 2 playoff games. The Lions just seem to be in a perpetual state of rebuild and then sometimes haphazardly fall into the playoffs.
Yeah, it sounds like, they haven't been in the playoffs in a little while, but Stafford has led them there. I think it's actually a very surprising move to see a player get freed from the Lions, where we saw like Barry Sanders just retire because he just was tired of being on a shitty franchise. Calvin Johnson, tired of getting concussions for a shitty franchise. Matthew Stafford is the toughest dude out there. We've seen these viral videos of him like on his back. I can't play. Just rush off to the sideline. Okay, put me in. Tough as nails. And now he's finally in a system where he's going to be, if Jared Goff could lead the Rams to the Super Bowl, Matt Stafford is definitely going to put them in the Super Bowl conversation.
And we get to put to bed the argument of whether or not Matt Stafford is an elite quarterback. Like, I think he is. I just think he's been saddled to the Lions his whole career and them's the breaks.
That's a huge
But
thing, too.
Now he's got a shot to prove it.
Well, the huge thing is going to be the coaching. If you think about it, like Stafford had Patricia, Stafford had Jim Caldwell, Stafford's had a lot of defensive-minded coaches, where now he's going to be under the boy genius, Sean McVay, like this great offense. And he's going to have Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. And it looks like this kid Akers is really good. And they have a good line. So he should be in a really, I'm happy for him to finally see him have a shot.
Yeah, for sure. And the Rams are in full win now mode because they have not. If you count Goff, that's 9 years without a first round pick now. If you don't count Goff, that's 8 years. So
yes, so they're not going to have a first round pick till 2024. They're basically mortgaging their future. They gave up a couple of picks to get Jalen Ramsey. All in all, I'd say that worked out because Jalen Ramsey's been, one of, if not the best cornerback in the league. Their defense has been unbelievable.
I agree, but it also puts them in a window. They have 2 years to win a Super Bowl.
They got Ramsey for like 5 years. They got Donald for a few more years. But yeah, no, they're very. I mean, when you think about it, that's pretty much what the Bucs did this year, and it worked.
Right, I agree. But I'm saying they have 2 years to win it. That's about it. The Bucs did it right, and it worked out for them. But we've also had other cases where they try to make this move, mortgage their future, and it does not work out. Like, look at the Knicks with the Carmelo Anthony trade.
All right, yeah. That you want to talk about mismanagement? There's no organization quite like the New York Knicks when it comes to mismanaging teams. But I see what you're saying. I think you give Goff. I think you give McVay a quarterback better than Goff, and they could easily win a Super Bowl.
I agree. I'm just saying they've given themselves a short window now, especially because they went with Matthew Stafford, who's a great quarterback. Like I said, I believe he's elite, and just happened to go to the Lions, and that sucks. You got a team that's just probably the worst franchise in the NFL, and that's saying something because we're Jet fans. But so it gives him his shot, but he's also not a spring chicken anymore. He does not have a lot of time left on him. That's why I'm saying they probably have 2 years unless they can figure it out at quarterback after that 2 years.
He has a very lengthy injury history, but he plays through it. He's 33, and if Tom Brady's any indication, he could have a few more years left. The big contracts but for the Rams, no, I completely get what you're saying. For the Rams, though, they had the big contract of Goff, that's gone. The big contract of Gurley, that's gone. The big contract of Cooks, that's gone. So even if Stafford, like you said, has this very short window, they could go out and get a different quarterback because they have the cap, they have the flexibility.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but all I'm saying is that it's not so simple as just, go out and figure out your quarterback, because there are teams who have been trying to do that for 20 years still haven't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So
we're the Jets.
Yeah, exactly. Picture perfect. I mean, you can make the argument for Chad Pennington, but other than that, you got Joe Namath. So that's where it comes for us. But that's why I'm saying 2 years, because I think definitively you definitely have a 2-year window right now. If you can figure out the quarterback after that, which I don't know if they can, then maybe you can lengthen it. But what are you going to do? Trade away 10 years worth of first-round picks to get a quarterback after Matt Stafford?
I'm surprised they even have this many first-round picks because I feel like they just keep making trades and keep giving in first-round picks. Like, I think Sean McVay has a secret stash of first-round picks that nobody else knows about. And he's just like, yeah, like, I'll give you a secret, super secret first-round pick. And he's just pulling them out of his back pocket, making them up.
Yeah, and it also shows you how much he really hated Goff. Because he gives up, I think, 2 to get Goff. The Rams did. And then after that, the 2 to Matthew. And then he was just like, you know what? I'll give up another 2. Just get this guy the fuck out of town.
Well, yeah, that's okay. So that's the huge thing with Goff and McVay. We were saying it last week that there is a rift that they for whatever reason had a split, and the term that the Rams ownership used was non-committal. I thought that just kind of meant like they would have a quarterback competition with that guy Wolford who won a playoff game. Maybe they would reach out to the Texans, see if there was any Watson. I didn't see this coming with Stafford, but Goff arrived in Detroit and said, I'm just excited to be in a team that wants and appreciates me.
I don't know all that. I don't know if that's exactly true either way, but it's definitely a shot at McVay.
Absolutely is.
But
I don't.
To be fair to McVay, he kind of made Goff what he was. His numbers, his rookie season, he was terrible.
To be fair to McVay, to be fair to Goff, well, I think you got a lot of money for not having a great career.
Yeah, his first season was terrible. McVay kind of helped turn that around with his system. But then people started figuring out the holes in what Goff does, and even McVay's system couldn't handle it anymore.
But Goff was like, when you see all these quarterbacks getting paid, like we're talking about Watson and even Stafford when he got his payday, like these were guys that had like 3-4 years of good seasons. I'm not talking like Mahomes seasons. I'm not talking like Brady, Peyton Manning. I'm talking like these are guys who were just, you could see that they were going to be really good. Goff never had one of those years where, I mean, maybe the year they got to the Super Bowl, but Goff
I was
never
about to say,
had that
the Super Bowl run season, everyone was talking about Goff and McVay like, oh, this is going to be the next big coaching 1-2 punch, the new Brady Belichick, blah, 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 blah.
But it was one season, and here we are.
I know. That's why I never like to jump to conclusions over one season, because even last year, I was just like, you know what? Like, yeah, what Pat Mahomes did was absolutely incredible. He's a great quarterback, but, you know, let's give it 2 or 3 more seasons before we name him the GOAT. And now that we've got those 2 or 3 more seasons, I'm a little more in that vein. You know what I mean? Baby GOAT, Pat Mahomes. But the same thing, like, look at Lamar Jackson. Comes out his first year, MVP. After that, or not, second year, MVP. Comes out his first year, replaces Joe Flacco, does good. Comes out next year, MVP. Now, people have more film on him. People can game plan for him a little more. Found his holes. So I never like to thrush that on someone, but that's where everyone was going after that year. Because they did have an incredible year.
They did, and they went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Last year, the 49ers went to the Super Bowl. What do you think their move is with quarterback? Because they were reaching out, asking about Stafford.
Yeah, that's a rough one. They definitely want to move on from Jimmy G. That's obviously been made very, very clear at this point.
And that goes back to what we were just saying, is that Jimmy G had a very good season, and they gave him a whole lot of money. Then he got hurt, and he came back and wasn't that good, and now they don't know what to do. Because they're a team that, when their defense is healthy, has like one of, if not the best defenses in the NFL. They have Kittle. They have an amazing rushing game. The 49ers are, you know, they're a great team, and they could very easily be a last place team in the NFC West just because the Seahawks are going to be good again. I think the Cardinals will be better, even though I still hate Cliff Kingsbury. The Rams are clearly looking like they're, you know, running for a title.
Are we really sure the Seahawks are going to be good next year? They were really falling apart near the end of the year, and Russell did not look like Russell. He's getting older himself.
They need an offensive line. They need an offensive line and they need a secondary. Because I love Jamal. We've said this before. Jamal Adams, great at sacking quarterback, great run stopper, does not play well in coverage.
No, not at all.
Which is going to be really fun to see Stafford rip apart twice a year. Also, stop me if you're going to hear this. If you've heard this before, you're going to hear this all week. Matt Stafford went to high school with Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw plays for the Dodgers. They're in LA, reunited. It feels so good.
Oh, God. I mean, that is kind of cool, I guess.
Just get ready, because that's one of those, like, every broadcaster has to say a million every time. It's just going to be said a lot.
Yeah, but you never see two professional sports athletes from like who played Little League together go on to be some of the best at their position. You know what I mean? So I understand why it's such a big talking point.
I get it. It's just you know.
Unless it's like one of those unless it's like that high school that like Zaire Wade and Bronny went to. You know what I mean? Like that's just not something you see.
I mean, that's different, though, because that was a private school and their dads arranged it for that. But yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
we got some LeBron talk
outside of those
too.
circumstances. Yeah. Oh, man.
So that was the start of the big, what looks like it's going to be a big offseason for quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson's officially open for business. His Twitter bio says for football inquiries. He has nothing related to the Texans on any of his social media. He wants to be a Jet.
But the Texans have come out and said in no unspecific terms, like whatever the saying is, have come out and said we're not trading him, and they won't even call him Deshaun Watson. They just say the player. We're not trading the player.
Yeah, what's more humanizing than being referred to as him, the player? Like they're gonna trade him because someone out there is gonna make such an attractive offer that they're gonna. Whether it's the Jets, which I really hope, giving up the second overall pick and some future picks,
now they're saying he doesn't want to go there.
I haven't heard that.
They're saying it's his agent. Shefty came out on Greenberg's show and said, and Greenberg, being a well-known Jet fan, asked him selfishly, "What do you think about the Deshaun Watson to the Jets?" And Schefter said, "Yeah, don't get your hopes up."
Fuck. Where does Schefter say he's going to go? Schefter doesn't know shit.
I think you should check his Twitter feed, my guy. But no, he put out a bunch of like different uniforms. Like I know Miami's looking good, the Bears, 49ers. And honestly, looking into it more, Miami might have a better package to offer than the Jets. The Jets have more draft picks, but they can offer draft picks and Tua. Maybe someone else.
The Jets can offer more draft picks, and I don't know, who do you trust more, Darnold or Tua? Like, if you were the Texans, who would you believe in more?
I think Tua has more upside just because he's a more mobile quarterback. I think he has a lower floor but a higher ceiling, if that makes sense. He's a much bigger risk.
Bigger risk. With Tua, you also got to think that he had the injury in Alabama. He still has a question, like that's not an injury that just goes away. The major hip surgery he had. I don't know. The Texans are a dumpster fire, but I really want him on the Jets. So
I do too. But
I thought he came out and said he wants Salah, so that should be fun if we can.
Yeah, but from what I've been hearing from little rumorings, a lot of that was his agent trying to push him to the Jets because he thinks for like the business deals in New York will be so much more lucrative than going to like a smaller market team. That's
true. So I guess that would also make San Francisco more attractive. I'm surprised, like I mentioned it earlier, that the Rams, they went out and got Stafford, that the Rams should have tried to whatever package they could get. And
I think they had to get Goff off their books, and I don't think they could do that with Houston.
That's fair. But if Matt Stafford, all right, so if Matt Stafford warrants 2 first-rounders and a third, I think Watson's going to demand 3 first-rounders and a third and even more.
Again, though, I don't think that was for Stafford. I think that was to get them to take Goff's contract.
But that's still where you're setting the standard. I mean,
No, I get that the agents are going to look at it as they're sending that for Stafford to try to get the most for Deshaun Watson. But in my personal opinion, I believe it's much more that they were paying them to take this contract while getting Matt Stafford at the same time.
I get what you're saying. I just also think just by the nature of supply and demand, like that's going to drive up the price for any of these star quarterbacks. It also,
And I agree with you.
I
I'm
think,
just saying.
I mean, we were both very convinced Stafford was going to go to the Colts. I wonder what the Colts do now. Because those are two quarterbacks, Stafford and Goff, that were, part of this carousel that are off now. And the Watson's not going to end up a Colt. You're not going to trade within your own division.
I think if Rodgers does go anywhere, I would think it would be the Colts.
That would be incredible. I don't think he's going anywhere, but that would be incredible.
I'm saying if he does, that's probably would be his lead thing. He's got friends out there.
Pat McAfee, is that the friend?
Yeah.
Okay.
He still lives in Indy. And I just feel like it'd be a good fit for him. Like, you know what I mean?
I think Aaron Rodgers
it's a team that's ready to win.
He's a good fit anywhere he goes. It's the way I see it.
Right. But I feel like, especially coming off Phillip Rivers, I feel like what they've been doing over the last year is more cohesive to his style of play than, say, going to someone. I know they wouldn't, but like the Ravens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just somewhere where the scheme is completely just not what Aaron Rodgers does.
Yeah, I wonder if the Colts also maybe make a trade, try to get into a little higher up in the draft, try to see if they can get one of these rookie quarterbacks that's coming out. That'll be
I think they're in
interesting.
win now mode. I
You're
definitely
right.
think they're trying to win now. That's why they signed Rivers.
Yeah, I mean,
But I
yeah.
also think T.Y. Hilton's a free agent this year, so that could change things because it's one of their big weapons, and I don't think they re-sign him.
Yeah. Well, then they could definitely make a move for one of the big receivers like Juju Smith or Galladay or Allen Robinson. These are big free agent wide receivers. So the NFL between now, after the Super Bowl, and the start of next year is going to look very different. That's for sure.
For sure.
How it's going to look, we don't know, but it's going to look very different. All right, let's get into. I hate this. This is not football news. We're moving away from football. Let's talk about my New York Mets. The Mets are back to being the Mets.
Yes, and that also leads us to Chris's dumbass of the week. And I'm sorry, Uncle Richie. Love you. Feel free to call in and respond to your boy. But Steve Cohen is not the man. All right? Steve Cohen has gotten himself caught up in all this stock market shit, GameStop, whatever, that has been going on. Basically, this is another historic event that we've lived through in the past, 2 years.
2.5 weeks. Yeah, 2 years, 2 years.
Just another history-defining moment. 'Cause this is going to change the stock market altogether, and new Mets owner Steve Cohen has himself smack dab in the middle of it, bailing out hedge funds that are the majority investor, I believe, in GameStop to try to screw over the little man who's using the same techniques that these guys use to manipulate the market and just did it better than the big people for once in their life. And then the real reason he's getting dumbass of the week for me is you go out on Twitter when you're not a public guy. He's never been. Literally, if someone took a picture of him, he would go and buy the rights to that picture off them. Just so he wouldn't be out there. And now you're going out and going against Dave Portnoy, who I'm not a big fan of. I think he just comes off like a douche. You know what I mean? I think the work he's doing I think the work he's doing with that whole charity, the Barstool Fund, I think that's all great, but I just think he comes off as like a douchey type person, and I don't really like him.
He is.
But
That's his whole persona, being a big douche on the internet, but he knows how to use the internet well.
yeah, and he came out and just kind of spanked Steve Cohen.
That's what he does. He kind
Just
of dunked.
basically, yeah, just dunked on him and called for his arrest. And then Steve Cohen tries to say, "Hey, let's take this off the internet," allowing another dunk from Portnoy, saying, and hold on, I have the quote right here. Dave Portnoy, I don't do offline. That's where shady shit happens. You bailed out Melvin because he's your boy, along with Citadel. I think you had a strong hand in today's criminal events to save hedge funds at the cost of ordinary people. Do you unequivocally deny that? And he just kept going in the public eye, which you should never do as a businessman, especially when you're involved in a scandal like this. He could have possibly implicated himself in some of these going on. And you gotta know your lane. I understand you're a billionaire. You think you're smarter than everybody because you have all this money. That's fantastic. Great for you. But know your lane, my guy. You're not that public guy. And within 2 days of this all happening, he tucks his tail between his legs and deletes his Twitter.
Yeah.
Just not a good look for anybody. And God, the Mets will Met, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, for a little time there, it was just really great to be like, yes, this new owner's this Wall Street fat cat. He's going to come in and make these sweeping changes and make us into a good team. But then you forget most of these, if not every single Wall Street billionaire is to a large part an asshole. And they're also friends with the other Wall Street billionaires. So when Wall Street billionaires are losing to a bunch of Redditors, Steve Cohen sides with the Wall Street billionaires. And then suddenly his interactions with the fans aren't so great. I wonder why, Steve, you just bailed out the billionaires instead of your fans. Dave Portnoy, out of all people, like Dave Portnoy is not the champion of the working man, you know? He is threatened to fire every Barstool employee if they unionize. He has said some horrible things to on-air talent about their looks. Like, he's not a wonderful guy himself, but he's right in the situation. Yeah, he's a douche, but he's right in the situation. Steve Cohen, like,
and he's awful. He's just the complete guy to pick this fight with. Like, he's the complete wrong guy to pick this fight with.
No, he's the guy that he knows how to play the internet very well. He knows how to get stories like blown up, get every word you say just everywhere,
and spin the narrative to him.
Yeah, well, every narrative he's involved is him. But Steve Cohen just deleting your account, hiding, running away from it. It's just not a good look for, but you actually said it. I don't know if you stole it from somewhere, but you said the previous Mets owners got swindled by Bernie Madoff. The current Mets owner might be Bernie Madoff.
Yeah, I sent that to the group chat, but it's true.
Absolutely. Yeah, it sucks.
Wall Street has not been good to the Mets.
Wall Street
Nothing's ever really good to the Mets, but
Wall Street's not really good to most places, and the Mets are just a clusterfuck. So it adds up. Because if you want to get into other Mets news, we talked about how they had to fire their GM a couple weeks ago for being a pervert. Turns out Mickey Callaway, the former Mets manager who now works for Los Angeles Angels as a pitching coach, Callaway was also a creep when he was in New York. Over 5 women have now came out saying that he would text them, harass them 2 or 3 times a week, sending pictures of himself shirtless, asking for nudes, and just all around being just a creepy dude. So, fellas, we got to talk. Stop being weird to girls. No girl's ever going to be like, oh, he sent me a picture of him shirtless. No, I'm going to send him a picture of me shirtless. Because if you're in that situation,
that's not how this works.
If you're in that situation, you're probably already dating. You're probably already screwing. So, just take it offline. Take it offline. It's where weird shit happens. It's just not a good look for baseball. It's not a good look for the Mets. The Angels said they're going to suspend Mickey Callaway while they investigate this. You got to fire him. I mean,
and I know, like, everyone always yelled about how you never get anything out of the Wilpons and blah, 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 blah. Steve Cohen probably should have taken, in all these different things, should have probably taken the Wilpon approach. Did not. And now, coming out, after all this new stuff he's got on, then piling on that the old general manager is now a creep, just just the same way as the new one was.
I can separate that. I mean, the Wilpons were the ones that hired Callaway, and the Wilpons were the ones
Right.
that fired him. So I'm not putting down to Steve Cohen. It's just the
Not at
timing
all.
of it as a Mets fan to
Yeah.
be like, oh, okay, so our current owner is an asshole. Our GM just got fired for being a pervert, but our last manager was also a pervert. It's not really that cool. It's not cool, you know?
Not fun times for Mets fans.
We just want a front office that's competent, but also not creepy assholes. And so far, we went from really cheap and incompetent, the Wilpons, to willing to spend money, but also assholes and perverts.
And might be illegal.
Yeah. So, well, Steve Cohen has actually previously been in trouble with the law for white collar crimes. Yeah, everybody does it every now and then. You know, we've all been in that. We've all been in that situations where we tell a couple of white lies to make our billion-dollar hedge funds a little bit better on paper than they really were. Whatever. We've all done it. We all get past it. We move on.
I definitely do not.
Yeah, different worlds. Oh man. There's actually a baseball trade.
Eric says, I don't care about the stock market as long as you get me Trevor Bauer. Fuck me over financially all day.
Just don't be a creep to women. That's what bothers me more than anything.
True.
Like, no, it bothers me that Wilpon's an asshole, but is he the first billionaire from Wall Street to be a complete asshole, to be corrupt, to be betting against the little guy? No. If he came out and he was a creep and harassing women, would that surprise me? Probably not. But like Mickey Callaway, you're the manager of the team, supposed to be the leader of the team. Like, it's 2021, fellas. Just respect women.
No, I agree.
Respect everyone.
100%. But I'm still just not going to let you sweep the other thing under the bus because you want Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, I don't know. I think part of the thing now is Trevor Bauer is just going to take a real wait and see approach, because Trevor Bauer loves to be on Twitter. He talks to the Barstool guys all the time. He's a very vocal human. He likes the spotlight. Steve Cohen, like you said, does not like the spotlight. Steve Cohen went in the spotlight. It was fun at first, and he got caught in the middle of, he got caught being an asshole. He stood there, peed his pants, got embarrassed. The whole school was laughing at him. He took his shit offline.
Could this be the thing that makes you not land Bauer, though, if he's so cool with the Barstool guys? Just El Presidente over there going, hey, man, guy's a dick. Don't sign with that team.
I don't know. I mean, Bauer is an asshole in his own right. So if Steve Cohen was like,
True.
hey, I'm going to fuck over all the Redditors who are making money, take all the money that they just lost and give it to you, Trevor Bauer would say, sure, deal, I'm in.
Yeah, but I feel like he's more of a Portnoy type asshole than he is a hedge fund billionaire type asshole, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna dive into this whole GameStop thing, but we were able to see like Dave Portnoy, AOC, Ted Cruz, all on the same side of an argument, which is just
absolutely
hilarious.
Incredible.
Hilarious. Like 2021 is off to a weird start.
Wild start.
There's also a couple of other baseball trades. I mean, the Red Sox actually got a player from the Yankees. Ottavino went from one side of the rivalry to the other, which just doesn't happen. It's only, I think, the second time in the last 30 years that they've traded with each other. And then Nolan Arenado, who I thought would come to the Mets, was traded from the Rockies to the Cardinals for a bag of peanuts and some prospects.
Yeah, I don't understand that one at all. They must have really have seen something they liked from those prospects, because there's no reason he should have went.
Huge contract for Arenado. They knew they weren't going to be able to pay it, so I guess they just dumped it for what they could get. I don't know.
I feel like they should have gotten more at the very least.
They probably should have. But like we were saying before the show, is that like baseball doesn't have a salary cap, so a team like St. Louis is going to be able to afford more players than a team like Colorado, which plays in Denver, which is weird because Denver isn't even a small city. It's just St. Louis has such a strong fan base that they can pay Arenado, where the Rockies are already paying Blackman. They can't afford to keep both of them, so they just did a little salary dump for some prospects.
I guess. That's still, I don't know. Like, I get it. Smaller market team, coronavirus year. Everyone's losing money, trying to get out from under it, but like, you couldn't have talked to someone else, got a little something else back. You know what I mean? It seemed far too low in my opinion. That's my only problem with it. Not that it's lower than its value should have been because they're selling from a place of disadvantage, a la Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson, if that happens.
Yeah.
But like even with Harden, you saw what they got. You saw the compensation they got. It wasn't what they could have gotten for Harden if it was like regular Harden, not trying to force his way out.
Right.
But it wasn't peanuts.
No, and we could talk about the Rockets and basketball in a minute. But I think with baseball, a lot of times though, we see these kind of trades where you see a big name get moved for peanuts and Cracker Jacks, and those prospects end up being something. Like it doesn't happen all the time, but it's not impossible where you see, a trade happen and 2-3 years down the line, you're like, how did the Rays get so good? Oh, because the Rays traded David Price and got all these prospects for him. The Rays traded Evan Longoria and got all these prospects for him. Like there are some teams, and I don't know if the Rockies are one of those teams, but we see it with the Padres. Padres made a lot of trades and they built up with Tatis Jr. and Cronenberth and like all of these guys through the farm system. So some teams can figure out the diamonds and the roughs and get it.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. They must have really thought they seen something in these prospects. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's not even like one of these prospects that it's not even like one of the major prospects out there. Like they're good prospects, like, but usually any halfway decent prospects that they're talking about bringing up, you've heard the names before. I couldn't tell you any of these guys' names because this is probably the first time I've ever heard them.
No, you're giving up the face of your franchise for a bunch of guys that you hope pan out. I don't know. But that's baseball. That's talking baseball.
That is baseball. That's a sport that loves doing that more than anyone. I think it's just because they have such a deep farm systems compared to everyone else. Like NBA has the G League now, but that's not really. That's just starting to become relevant.
The G League's actually just starting up a bubble. I'm going to use that as a good transition to talk about my New York Knicks, who lost last night in a heartbreaker to Chicago, a game they definitely should have won, but didn't. But with the Knicks, Dennis Smith Jr., a guy we've harped on before, came out and said he wants to play in the G League. He realized he wasn't getting minutes in the NBA and would rather spend his time with the Westchester Knicks becoming a better player than riding the bench. And I think that's something that we're going to start seeing a little bit more of in the NBA. And you and I have talked about this with college basketball, is that players would rather play in this G League than play for free at college.
Right. So that's only going to bring in more talent to the G League because you have to play in the G League for a specific amount of time with this new NBA, like, out of high school program. So that's another reason that a guy like Dennis Smith would want to go down there, just get minutes to become a better basketball player. Because he's going to be going against higher talent. These guys, all the big prospects that would be going to like a Duke or wherever,
right,
will now be in the G League for him to compete against and hone his skill.
And the direct consequence, the direct result of that is that this year, for the first time in however many years, Duke, Kentucky, North Carolina all aren't ranked. Last I saw, Kansas was ranked 23. Like these blue bloods that are always the guys that they're literally just like, think about it, they're pit stops on these guys' way to the NBA, where you know that they're going to be stars from when they're in high school. Zion goes to Duke for a year. Okay, you knew Zion was going to be the first pick, but Duke's having a bad year. North Carolina's having a bad year. All of these guys are going to the G League. That's not a coincidence.
Yeah. And I think this also, to pivot away for 1 second, I think this is a great point on why the NFL should invest in like a thing like the AAF or something like that, a lower level league, because you see it in every other sport where they have these places to send people to develop. And yeah, they have college, and yeah, you can talk about the CFL or some shit like that, but nothing really major, nothing really you can play against. Like soccer has it, baseball has it, NBA has it now.
I agree with you, but I also see why they don't, where if you're a 23, 24-year-old and you're like looking to break it into the NFL, you don't want to be throwing your body on the line for a CFL game. You don't like.
Well, plenty of guys do it for peanuts.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I'm saying like if you're looking at a minor league thing like that, like it's just too hard to convince one of these guys to say like, yeah, every single snap, you're risking an ACL, an Achilles, you're risking your career, and you're going to be making chunk change. I agree that they should do it. I just don't think they'll be able to sell it to the players.
I think if you've been working your whole life to achieve one goal, and this is going to be your path to possibly achieve that goal, I think players would do it. I think if you had like a practice squad where they played other practice squads, I think the practice squad would do it. It's only going to sharpen their game.
But it's going to weaken them as practice squad players for when it's time to use them as to what they're doing.
But there's no guarantees for that. That's why you have a 53-man roster. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
and then half the time, those practice squad guys that get elevated, unless you're like the Jets who had 97 receivers go down in like the first 2 weeks, even if they do get activated to the active roster, they don't see the field.
Here's the
I think
thing.
players want to play.
Players want to play, but I don't think owners want to pay them to play at a lower level. And I don't think the Players Association would say like, we're going to do this for, a lot less money, because there's just no, like, there's no fan base for minor league baseball. There's no fan base for the G League. You're just a fan of your real team. But if you play a game of baseball or a game of basketball, you don't have to then sit out a week because your body's shot. Like, I just don't, I would love to see it happen. I just don't think it will. That'd be a great question for us to ask anyone who listens to this that was a football player, if you would play in a minor league football league.
And even if the league was like a little even extra cautious with like the targeting rules, and like if it's anywhere close, just call it, just because we're trying not to get them hurt.
The reverse XFL.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, even the new XFL was like trending more in that direction. Like, it wasn't like the old XFL, you know what I mean?
The XFL's coming back next year. I mean, everybody's kind of forgotten about it, but Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, also referred to as Wayne "The Rock," no, that's his name. The fuck am I saying? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson bought the XFL. It's coming back. I just scared myself. Like, I just had a senior moment.
Dude, that's actually fucking, like, it still blows my mind that he bought it from Vince McMahon. Like,
oh, they're boys.
I know, but like, your top star is now buying a sports company, like a whole sports company, not a sports team, not this, that, or the third, an entire fucking league from you, because you helped to bring him up through your other sports league.
Yeah. But it's crazy because that was, I think he paid less for that than Mahomes paid for his stake in the Royals.
Well, yeah, because Corona absolutely tanked it, which sucked because they were getting some decent ratings.
I went to an XFL game. True story. I went to the first ever home game for the New York Guardians. I wore a Johnny Manziel Browns jersey just because, why not? He's going to be the future XFL MVP. There was at least 3 other people in the crowd wearing Johnny Manziel Brown jerseys. It was incredible. We all just pointed at each other. Cheers. We just formed this brotherhood. There's no bond like seeing somebody wearing a Johnny Manziel jersey at an XFL game.
I know, because I remember this is before me and you actually like hung out like anywhere near often. So I was talking to Devin about going, and then he hit you up, and we were all just like, yeah, let's go. And then me and Dev just didn't go.
Uncle Richie and I went. It was an experience. Then the next day, like, they were like, yeah, we're not doing that again. NFL,
so,
XFL just kind of collapsed.
Yeah, but at least it wasn't, like, they seem to be going into it well. They seem to have all their stops in place, and then all of a sudden, pandemic. Like,
yeah, that's kind of just
like where the
story.
AAF was kind of just like, I guess we're gonna fucking do it. They were just like, no, this is here, money from here, blah blah blah. The XFL had a plan this time.
That's the Vince McMahon in it, of like putting together a show, making it all theatrical. Because I remember we went, it was probably about this time last year, honestly, and it was very cold out, but they had like the fireworks and the giant Guardian thing. Oh my God, I wish I got to find the picture. I don't know if we're doing a safe for work podcast or not, but they put out this big Guardian, and it was a gargoyle, and it had the big wings. But that was when you're looking at it from the front. If you're looking at it from the back, from behind, you just see the wings, where the wings come together. I've never seen a statue look more like a vagina than this statue looked like a vagina. And they had it standing right there where all the smoke was coming out and the players were running out. And like, yeah, if you're on the field looking up at it, it's badass and scary and whatever. If you're where we were in the end zone looking at the back of it with all the smoke coming out, it looks like this vagina just queefing out smoke. And that's Eric goes to the XFL.
Well, see, that's a thing that a lot of people didn't know about the old XFL. It was never supposed to be on TV. And then at the last minute, they just signed some terrible TV deals because they figured, just fuck it, let's get it on TV. But it was supposed to be like a high A ball type thing where it's just you go to your stadium. It's like it's just made to be in stadium. It's not made. It wasn't made to be on TV. It wasn't made to do these things. It was supposed to be exciting and something you go through for like a day. Where this time it had all the right plans to make it an actual televised sports league. And I feel like that was something that really got lost because it just got fucked by the pandemic.
Yeah, so hopefully if everybody gets vaccinated, the pandemic's over and we can get back to the XFL because actually, yeah, you're right. It was a better product than we all expected. I actually just sent you and Devin the videos and pictures from that I was just talking about of the back of the statue looking a lot like a vag. 1 year from 1 week from today is when I saw that.
Oh no, it really does. It really does.
It really does. Like I don't know.
All right.
Got a little off the rails there.
Yeah, but we always do. It's kind of it's the wild card. It keeps things spicy.
It's that time of year. It's Super Bowl and then no football for 7 months. We got at least 2 months till baseball starts. If they start on time, there's talks they don't. Devin's
Basketball's
not here.
just getting started, so it's still just kind of like speculation at the moment.
Devin's not here to do that hockey. I mean, I could talk a little basketball if you want. I don't think we're really diving in other than, I just talk about my Knicks. But we do have to talk about LeBron James getting into it with Courtside Karen. So last episode, we talked about how Courtside, a Cavs executive heckled him. LeBron took that personally, balled out, gave him the W. This happened last night in Atlanta. A very Instagram famous woman and her husband, famous Instagram
Is she
couple.
Instagram famous?
I guess so. I mean, she's got a lot of followers on Instagram. They were heckling LeBron courtside. I just got to read the story. It's just too good not to read word for word. I don't know where it went. Oh, it's killing me.
When are people going to learn that just do not draw attention to yourself from LeBron James?
No. See,
because once you fuck with him, it's just gonna end badly for you. This is 2 weeks in a row now.
The Rockies owner actually just came out and said he's frustrated by the Arenado trade. Dude, you're the one that made it. That's genuinely hilarious. All right, so LeBron and this guy were talking to each other. The woman literally yelled at LeBron. Keep in mind, he's 6'9", 250 pounds of muscle, one of, if not the most famous athlete in the world. This woman says to LeBron, to sit down and get the fuck out of here. Don't talk to my fucking husband like that. Her story that she posted on Instagram, her name is Juliana Carlos. She put on Instagram, she's minding her own business. She goes, I'm minding my own business. My husband, Chris, has been a Hawks fan forever. We're watching the game. We've been coming to these seats 10 years. I don't have an issue with LeBron. Whatever. I don't give a fuck about LeBron. LeBron, anyways, comes up. I'm drinking my drink, having fun. All of a sudden, LeBron says something to my husband. I see this and I stand up and I go, don't fucking talk to my husband. She says that LeBron looked at her and said, sit the fuck down, you rank ass bitch. She stood up to LeBron and said, don't call me a bitch. You get the fuck out of here.
First of all, just on this whole topic, there's no way in fucking hell LeBron James is just going to start jawing to someone sitting courtside for no fucking reason. The guy was obviously talking shit, and if you're going to talk shit, sometimes people are going to talk shit back, especially when you're talking shit in earshot.
Well, both the husband And the husband's name is Chris Carlos. The wife's name is Juliana Carlos. Both of them have said alcohol was involved. LeBron says he thinks alcohol was involved. NBA security escorted them out, kicked them out, probably because the whole Ron Artest thing, you don't really want alcohol and fans and players and
No.
stuff. But it was more so because of COVID.
Yeah, that was the thing. She took down her mask. That's the number one rule of being able to go to these games is you're not allowed to do that. So she took down her mask. She yelled at the guy. Two things that are just, if she had the virus, is going to spread it to fucking everybody. The teams are not going to play around.
You imagine that this woman gets internet. I mean, she's getting internet fame right now. I mean, she's 25 years old, married to a much older, wealthier gentleman out of Miami. Like, pretty clearly
and
a
has
gold
her own
digger.
hashtag now. Like,
yeah, courtside Karen. She's, I don't know. She claims she's 25. She doesn't look like she's 25. She looks like parts of her are 25. The rest of her probably not. She's got a lot of work done. I just think like if she is the woman who gets LeBron sick with the cocoa, and LeBron has to miss time on his defending champ run because this woman courtside Karen yelled. Could you imagine like? There's a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where Larry David accidentally trips Shaq because he's sitting courtside and won't move his feet in. That's this playing out in real life if LeBron gets sick from this.
yeah, and that's why they got kicked out. Everyone's trying to say, oh, it's just because he mouthed off to LeBron and LeBron can't take it. No. You are a fucking health hazard. We're in a pandemic. There was one rule about going to this game. Keep your fucking mask on.
I mean, it's part of, but like, all right, so I'm reading now, there's only 1,300 people in attendance at this game. So you know the tickets were insanely hard to come by. This is a power couple. I don't know what they do, but they're wealthy Miami real estate people. They flew up from Miami to Atlanta to sit courtside to watch LeBron. They're the type of people that they think if they can get the tickets to the game, they can do whatever the fuck they want. Your ticket is your ticket to be an asshole. You can heckle, take your mask down, do whatever they want. LeBron's just playing a game of basketball, doing what he does. And he's like, hey, shut the fuck up, sit down, you rank ass bitch. LeBron's standing up for himself, and props to her. Because if I'm seeing LeBron James and LeBron James calls me a rank ass bitch and tells me to sit down, I'm going to sit down. He's a big ass dude. She stood up. She's going toe to toe with him. She's like Logan Paul. She's stretching out, ready to fight him for the fame. Do it all for the clout.
I think she just knows that two things are going to happen. One, he's not going to do anything because he's a sensible fucking human being. And obviously LeBron's not going to do anything to this woman. Or B, he does do something and she now makes fucking $100 million. So why not poke the bear? She either comes out looking like the badass who told LeBron to shut up and dribble, or she comes out looking like the victim and $100 million richer. So
good point. I mean, everything LeBron does is on camera, so yeah, that's very true. But like, just to have the balls on this woman to just in the moment stand up and just yell back at LeBron James, that's like a level of self-confidence I can only aspire to have.
I think that's much less self-confidence as just
liquid confidence.
No, not even liquid confidence, just more like megalomaniac type deal. I think she just thinks she's bigger than everyone.
Oh, definitely extremely entitled, very self-centered megalomaniac, whatever that fancy word was you said. But I also would love to have a girl who's by my side and like, I pick a fight and she's there to clean it up. LeBron James on the court, I got you, honey. Hold my earrings. Like,
nah, I'd actually 100% would not want that. If I want a girl and I'm trying to pick a fight, I want my girl to be like, hey, let's not get arrested here. I don't need her to add to the arrest charges.
Oh, no.
That's just me personally.
If you're going down, you don't want her swinging with you?
Nah, I'd rather her be good.
What if
and
she
then
stood
hopefully
up
have someone to bail me out of jail?
Yeah, what if she stood up and was like with LeBron yelling at Chris Carlos, just being like, hey, Chris, shut the fuck up. LeBron's trying to do his job.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it depends. If he's yelling some fucking horrible shit, if he's being an asshole, I'd rather the person call me out on being an asshole than just let me continue to be an asshole.
Just wait for cancel culture to be like, LeBron James should not have called her a courtside Karen or a rank-ass bitch. Those are mean, offensive terms, which, yeah, in some contexts they are, but in this context, they're spot-on accurate.
And they kind of started it.
We
You
got
know what I mean?
Real Housewives of Atlanta on the court.
Oh God. Oh God.
What a year, 2021.
I know. It's really like just all the weirdest stories are coming out of this year, and it's not even due to like COVID. Which you like, yeah, a lot of weird stories have come out surrounding COVID, but there's also just random weird shit happening. Like,
Well, that's the kind of weird shit that, like, if there wasn't COVID, you'd have people in the crowd, you probably wouldn't hear it. But that is a weird thing that's happening. No, you're right. A lot of
right.
like it took COVID to get us to have EA Sports making the video game college football game back. I don't know if there's any relation there, but it's back. You have the Mets
Dude,
the Mets not
I
acting like
really
the
don't
Mets.
care about that game. Like, give me Skate 4, EA. Give me Skate 4. I can deal without NCAA football.
You've never played a mascot game. You can play a game with all the mascots, dude. It's so sick.
Really?
You're a team of mascots versus the other team of mascots, and instead of a spin move, you do flips. Like if you're the Florida Gator and you're on a break and you press spin move, you just jump and do a flip as the Gator.
I'd still much rather like NFL Street over a college football game. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I'm happy for the people who want it because there's a lot of people out there that want it, and like I'm not a hater in that sense. I don't care.
I just cannot wait to get it and build the University of Buffalo into the powerhouse we deserve to be.
At least you can do it virtually.
For now. Just with it.
All right, I think that's all for me though.
That's all I got. I am spent.
Yes, me too. Slept about 4 hours last night, so all this energy you're seeing is literally 6 cups of coffee before we started recording. And that's going to crash soon.
How much snow did you shovel?
Oh my God. Thank God. I come home, spent an hour and a half driving home from work yesterday because I'm a cook at a hospital. You know, sick people got to eat. We got to do what we got to do. Was not able to make it up my hill. So I'm walking up this big ass hill after parking my car at the bottom. I walk up. There's some random dude standing in my driveway. This random dude happens to be holding a snowblower. My neighbor snowblowed my entire fucking driveway for me last night.
Incredible.
Life was great. Life was absolutely fantastic. I had to clean out the last like 4 inches that like happened overnight last night. But other than that, I got off scot-free. Life was good for me.
You owe that neighbor at least an apple pie.
Oh, 100%. We're making him a whole dinner. We've already decided this.
Yeah, absolutely deserved.
Oh, man. I can't tell you how happy I was. I thought he was doing his driveway, and then the closer I got, just thank you, sir. You're a great person.
What a kind person.
Sorry. I'll throw it out in the ether to thank him. Hopefully, if he ever sees this. But anyway, that's it for us today. A lot of big news, a lot of fun news, and just an all-around weird week.
A lot of weird stuff happening, but let's all just get together and have a nice Super Bowl. Hopefully, we don't kill each other by then. Just as a country.
So excited for this Super Bowl. I really, just the best one that could have come out. And, yeah. So I'm Chris Gray. We got Eric Mintzer, and I'll see you.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of those things. I don't even know if we have Snapchat yet. Follow us. Let us know what you think of the show and who's going to win the Super Bowl.
Welcome to the basement.